So I worked with a lot of corporations that took the PPP loans but had to do layoffs anyway because it was supposed to be forgiving
Yeah.
if you met certain metrics and certain things. Just the fact that they had layoffs alone disqualified a lot of people from having that forgiven, and they had to pay it back in full. That's why I keep harping on what are the qualifications and the terms of these
Yeah.
loans that they're going to have. And you brought up a really good point with the word black. It's too vague. Um, you call this a black men's plan, but it just says black. And let's be honest, any types of programs that are developed for black people, there tends to be non-black people who take advantage and get those same resources too on a
Yep. They'll get
technicality.
hijacked.
So I'm curious to see how you're going to enforce or define even what is black. That's my pushback on number one. But the intent is okay. I just don't think it can be enforced efficiently or properly.
Yeah.
Point number two: championing education, training, and mentorship programs that help black men. You see how they wrote black men here?
Yeah.
Get good paying jobs in high demand industries and pathways to become teachers, including pathways to become teachers. Um, I'm gonna tell y'all something about teachers, and I admire, I respect, and I salute teachers. But there's such a shortage of teachers right now in so many different states.
Hmm.
Um, they need you, and I commend you if that's the route you want to take. Um, Again, this the intent of this point is good. I'd like to see more of an emphasis on skill based jobs as opposed to pushing people to go to college. We need more trades in for with black. We need more black men in trades. But again, it's inconsistent that they define black men in point two, but they don't do it in point one.
Yes. Yeah. We have black. Let me see if I can highlight this. Yeah. Black entrepreneurs, black men, um, black men here. This will be a fun one. And then black men here, and then black Americans. See, that makes me think black entrepreneurs might be open to people that are not U.S. citizens.
That there's that because we do have people that we have black people that have migrated here illegally and they're already getting benefits. So why would we trust them they want to be included in this? You would think
Mhm.
path to citizenship and
Yeah.
all these benefits and rights.
So, point number two, and I believe I could have sworn some of these programs are already existing. Like, I feel like I've heard of these programs before, and considering all of the money that's been given to champion Black empowerment or Black communities, aren't these programs still? Aren't they still around, or are these programs just money laundering situations? Because I've seen stuff like this come about where champion education, like, but first of all, are you trying to send men back into the 4-year degree or master's or situation to where we have to hope that the government gives us a loan or forgives our student loans, training, mentorship? I don't know what they're doing with all this. This is really is a bunch of word salad because I don't know how they're going to implement this. And then also pathways become teachers. You want to know who is the biggest supporters, group of supporters for the Democrats? The teachers union.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that she said teachers, or in this planet they included teachers. Like you could have said like plumbers, you could have said any type of like blue collar job where you don't always have to have a degree, but you need some type of apprenticeship. But yeah, she said come teachers, high demand industries, lead their communities, and that's the other thing too. High demand industries and lead their communities.
Before I go to that, let me just bring up one more thing with the teachers. We're
Mhm.
we're seeing more and more reports of teachers that can't afford to live in the cities that they're teaching in.
Yeah.
Most recently, the astrophysics professor at UCLA, who essentially said he's homeless, making 70,000 a year in the greater Los Angeles area. 70K is not a lot of money in LA.
Yeah, if he
It's
moved, he could make way more money. He just wants to live
he,
in LA.
yeah, he could, but I don't know. Maybe UCLA has a great astrophysics program or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
High demand industries. Again, I changed that to trades and STEM. That needs to be our focus as
Yeah.
black men right now. Get back into trades, do something related to STEM. Um, but the intent is good, but too vague, not properly drawn out, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
another too vague situation. And this is probably the this one is really extremely vague. Supporting a regulatory framework for cryptocurrency and other digital assets so black men who invest in and own these assets are protected. Protected from who? Protected from what? What are
I
we talking about here? And
yeah.
you're telling me white people have a some other network that preys on black people? I don't know. I don't honestly. I don't know too many black men that actually crypto trade like that. I know they're out there, and I've seen. I've only met them online, honestly, or in like Facebook groups and stuff like that. But most black men that I know in person, they don't crypto trade like that, and they probably would crypto trade if they were comfortable with it. But how's she going to protect them in their assets? First of all, crypto is already protected to a degree. So what are you going to do differently to protect those assets?
I'm more concerned if we're talking about investments. I'd be more concerned with something more tangible like land. Crypto's
Oh,
hit or miss with a lot of people. Crypto and NFTs. I
yeah.
think I think the real fix here, because we don't like to just complain here. We like to come with solutions sometimes too.
Mhm.
Land is the proper investment that we need right now. We need land, and but honestly, I've seen too many people who have inherited land when their parents or grandparents pass away and they instantly sell it off right away. So
Yeah.
a lot of it will come back to you, but I think there will be a significant number of us who can take that land and flip it and make it into a legacy lasting for the family. I would rather see a focus on land than cryptocurrency, me personally.
Now, did the platinum plan cover any of this stuff? I know we got one more, but I can't remember if the platinum plan covered any of
I
this.
don't remember the specifics in that regard, but again, we talked about the opportunity zones
Yeah.
that Trump wanted to roll out when he was in office. And what they're not saying is he kind of was putting a system in place where I think he realized how segregated most of the Midwestern cities are, for example, and he
Mhm.
was trying to empower people to like kind of, because with these opportunity zones, you can't afford them outright on your own more than likely, but you have to kind of combine sources with a trusted network of people to invest and take these lands and kind of build them up and either retain them or flip them or sell them or whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately the point is the focus was on land, not something as and crypto is, you kind of got to treat it like stock to a degree. It's not stable enough. We're still kind of young in the trading game as a race, so I don't think crypto is the way to go. It needs to be land and build from there. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. There's another vague situation. And she says black men on the crypto. And crypto trading isn't just more of a black men thing. That could be anybody. So I find it very interesting that crypto on paper, it sounds like it's something that's interesting and it's connected to black men, but I don't know how they're going to be able to, pull that off. Um,
Yeah.
Anyways, last one, launching a national health equity. Every time I hear equity, I think scam, but national health equity initiative focused on black men that addresses sickle cell diseases, diabetes, mental health, prostate cancer, and other health challenges that I can't say it, impact men and impact them.
I actually agree with this one 100% and have no problem with it.
So
Um, we are the least healthiest race, and a lot of it is self accountability and education. So if
yeah,
they want to put something together, to kind of inspire us or some materials to read about or study about, I cannot tell you how many, and I'm going to say black men for point number 4 because that's what was written. I can't tell you how many black men don't go to the doctor. I know too
yeah,
many that
I know,
don't.
I
I
know.
can't tell you how many black men look down on vasectomies. I had a vasectomy last year. It's really not a big deal. It doesn't affect anything. There's lots of medical things that we tend to avoid and be prideful about and think we can just fix ourselves. And honestly, a lot of us don't even properly know how to work out. That could probably fall under this category too. But we do need a health revolution, and this might be the area where we need the most help, quite frankly.
So I definitely agree with the diabetes, mental health. Maybe honestly though, I know sickle cell is a terrible disease in the black community. I honestly don't know too many people with sickle cell. I don't think I've ever met anybody with sickle cell, honestly, but I know it's a, you
So
know,
I'll tell you this because I donate blood. I have an O positive blood type, so my blood type is in demand because
oh,
anybody who has a positive blood type can take my blood. And one of the things they told me um, was that they needed more Black people to donate blood because our blood, I believe my nurse told me, is 3 times more likely to help someone who has sickle cell.
mm,
So there are racial based phenotypes with blood that matter in situations like that.
gotcha.
I just became a blood donor just this last year, so.
Yeah. And so the prostate cancer, other health challenges, honestly though, this doesn't need to be a including honestly with this whole thing. And number four just is it sounds really good. We're gonna create another government group to monitor stuff like this. I have no faith in them that they'll be able to pull this off and then they'll be efficient with it. And then honestly, for the men, if you're over 40, and or maybe you're in your 50s or whatever, like this is for the older men. If you're not getting checked out, you might as well start picking out your plot though, because where you're going to want to be buried at. You might as well start making arrangements. You want to eat cheeseburgers. You want to, not work out. I'm telling you, this stuff is very scary. And specifically picked this stuff out because if you don't have sickle cell, maybe you are, type 1 diabetes in your family. I'm surprised you didn't put blood pressure on here because that's something else that impacts Black men more than anything. And then you got prostate cancer as well too. And Black men or men in general don't want to go get their prostates checked out. But mental health, I think, is probably a soft one because I think people understand they need to do mental health. But I'm not confident that the government can run something like this. And then also, especially with the mental health thing, because I feel like all they're going to do is say, "Hey, Trump is the reason." I mean, look, even this thing. I just noticed this. If you scroll down, she already puts in there. Donald Trump spent 4 years making Black men's lives harder. What?
Look, let me go back. I agree with your comment about the mental health. There needs to be some type of point added on mental health. But I'll also say this: food deserts. Food deserts are a big problem in a lot of Black communities across this country. There are too many neighborhoods that don't have access to pure vegetables or farm-based produce.
Hmm.
That could be something that could be addressed too. I know in my hometown, there's a bunch of community gardens going on. There's some things happening in down here in Phoenix too. Uh, Food deserts would be a relevant point, but this is the one point where I think there's a few things that are missing, but I don't have any issue with the intent of it.
Yeah. So, all right. So we've looked at the plan and we've, had the discussion. Do you think this is enough to bring Black men back to her, or at least get them thinking twice about voting for Trump or not voting at all?
No, I don't. If you, like I said, go back to the conversation that Killer Mike was having with RFK in the barbershop. A lot of the things they talked about in there was restoring the family and building economies. This kind of addresses the building economies, but this doesn't do anything to like restore the family. What can the federal government do in that regard? We talked about this before. Maybe federal laws regarding joint custody by default, no fault divorce conversations. I've heard mandatory DNA testing. That's controversial, but it has come up.
Yeah.
Um, I've also heard like more fair equity when it comes to divorce. And that kind of falls into the no fault thing.
Oh my
Ultimately, if a marriage fails, someone is at fault, and that should be examined and reassessed. But I think the child support caps, ending permanent alimony, no fault divorce is a topic,
yeah.
and then things to say that hey, we support you all building a family because truthfully, that's the best way for us to build wealth is to
Mhm.
restore a fully functional family.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And honestly, she didn't even have to come out specifically for a plan for Black men because I think this plan needs to be retooled. And there's there obviously needs to be a lot of work, but some of the stuff can be applied to like pretty much all Americans, or at least Americans that qualify, which she doesn't even know. But if you want to say this is the black men route because you're about to lose your ass to black men, then fine, whatever, do whatever. But that's a very good point. She didn't. Some of this stuff doesn't even. It's just all fluff. Like if you really wanted to help, if you say you wanted to help black men and you wanted to give them a leg up or something that's they've been that's something that's been hammering them or that's been working against them. Well, marriage laws, or I mean, marriage has been hammering everybody, but child support enforcement, that's something that impacts a lot of black men. Well, it impacts men in general, but I think for black men, I feel it's a little more devastating. But then dealing with land and everything, those are like very, very good points, and they're like tangible things that can be done or done pretty quickly, and or capping child support or alimony, or figure out a compromise with marriage and divorce, or not really marriage but just divorce. But all this stuff doesn't really help black men. It's just something on the surface, and I definitely don't. I think if you're gonna let you've had, like, I don't know who she has in her inner circle, but she needs to fire them. This is not a very good plan. Whatever she was attempting to do, and I've seen some people just really focus on the $1 million loans, but they're not focusing on the black entrepreneurs. So why does she leave out men? Why does she leave out Americans? So there's a whole conversation there, but I think we're pretty much on the same side for why this plan is not going to help, and it's not going to save her campaign either.
Yeah, my summary of this plan, and I'll say this: these 5 points we just talked about are just the summaries. If you want the specifics for each point, you have to read this entire 9-page document. But we didn't have enough time to do that, so we just did the summary. But my summary of this plan is the intention is well, but there's lots to be added here. There's lots to be defined here, and there's a lot missing in terms of if you really want to tighten up your relationship with the black men. It sounds to me like, and I've said this before, the Dems, I have not been happy with the black male representation. It sounds to me like they just talked to the ones on staff and probably just talked to a couple of celebrities and threw this shit together, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. They were like, hey, ChatGPT, write me up a plan that the Negroes will follow. Yeah. That's what I think she did.
Man. And again, as soon as they bumped her up and said that she's going to be the candidate, I said this is going to create a quasi civil war with black folks, because you can't ask black women to speak for us when we have clearly defined that we don't know each other like we should.
Yes.
So now you have to deal with black men and black women separately to see what their wants and needs are until we unify and get on one page again.
Well, everyone, we're going to end it there. We are on episode 5, and we got plenty more to come. So definitely, I said this earlier. Thank you for the subscriptions or the subs to the channel, as well as the feedback on the comments. And some of the comments have been kind of funny, but we appreciate all the feedback. And hopefully you'll watch us again for episode 6 and beyond. MC?
No doubt. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
All right. Adios, everyone.
Peace.